Hello there, Professor Talaga here with a end of the semester wrap up. Yes, your first semester of nursing school is about over. Can you believe it? It's been a whirlwind, right? It's crazy fast and it's a lot of work, but it is totally worth it. I love being a nurse. I understand that 6003 is a very different course than your other courses in your first semester. Much of what we talk about in 6003 um, seems to be common, what some people would say is common sense, right? However, our graduates in this program, the students in this program, do come from very different backgrounds. So not everybody has had previous courses about, culture and communication and all that in their courses. We all come from different backgrounds, which is what makes this program great. But this is why we kind of talk about some of those things. I can say that this summer you are going to be going into the hospitals and you're going to be having real patients. I cannot stress enough that what you put in is what you are going to get out. Real patients, real issues, no excuses, right? So once you're dealing with those patients face to face, it's going to become really kind of apparent, what kind of work you've kind of put in and what work you haven't. Yeah, just really think as you're going through all of your classes, what can I take away from this and actually apply in real life? So in this course, for example, I know, our first module was a bit about, what is Jesuit, but really it's kind of like, what is the Marquette nurse? And we talk about being critical thinkers and leaders and advocates and that cura personalis. And the big takeaway from that is yes, we need nursing leaders, okay? We need nurses. And we really want you to, be strong in those qualities when you graduate from this program. Um, not making assumptions is such a big part of that. So yes, thus in this course, we had you at least kind of talk with a personal philosophy paper and really talk about those things, about how you are going to do that throughout the program. And I don't want you to forget those things, right? Your journey is your own, but, maybe pull out that paper, as you're going through clinicals is like, oh, what can I do to do better? Um, Racism in health, it's real. It's out there. You're going to see it with your own, eyes. So keep your eyes and ears open and be that advocate and be the difference for those patients with that. We talked about cultural humility. And as we learned um, in that, module, learning about culture and bias and everything is not a one and done kind of thing. This is something that we really need to purposefully look at throughout our careers, throughout our lives. It's a lifelong learning kind of thing. So this is why we throw cultural humility in. Even if you had it in undergrad, again, not a one and done. Need to be open to that throughout. The other big ones that come in, the social determinants of health and trauma-informed care are huge in the real life environment. So if at all with any one of your patients that you are going to have next semester in the hospital, if even for 1 second you think, okay, my patient is doing this or not taking this medication or, is back in the hospital for this chronic disease. If even for 1 second I can get you to go, why is that? And what other things are involved in their life that are kind of helping make, kind of forming, having this patient form those choices, or are they limited in their choices? Time and time again, students this past semester that I had in the hospital really realized how true those social determinants of health and trauma-informed care, how that did actually kind of silently play, or even not so silently in some cases, into their patient's plan of care. Uh, so do not make assumptions about your patients, ask the right questions. So please, please, please do that. The LGBTQ plus module, be inclusive, is all I can say with that. We have, we are going to have coworkers, we are going to have, patients, again, not making those assumptions. Do not assume that your patient lives the same life as you do. So being, trying to be really purposeful and aware with our language. I had a student just this semester who had a patient who was transgender, and I can tell you that the difference in response by that patient, they could very much tell who was accepting and who wasn't, and that very much played into the patient's responses with their care. So it matters. The COVID-19 module, as it's called right now, it's the COVID-19 module, but it's really about kind of nursing research. We're going to be talking a lot about evidence-based practice, and I want you questioning, why am I doing this? If we are doing something for our patient, we should have a rationale to why we're doing it. And using what research tells us is the best process. So, thus, throughout your careers, you're going to be hearing a lot about evidence-based practice. And I want you to, again, kind of not make assumptions on like, oh, we're going to do this because of X, Y, Z, or oh, I read about this. So we want to make sure that to be safe throughout our careers, that we are making, safe choices based on valid research and not just something that we're finding off social media or something like that. So really beginning to challenge what we see in print. And you'll have another course in nursing research that will dive more into that. But we just want to give you kind of the taste of it as you go forward into your hospital clinicals and start doing things for your patient. Then there was professionalism in the history of nurses. So how are you going to portray yourself in that clinical environment? It's, my students always, in clinical, it's always great. They're always like, oh, wow, this patient's kind of looking at me and like depending on me, like, oh, let me get the nurse. And I'm like, no, you're going to be the nurse. So what are you going to do? And the students always have that kind of moment of like, oh my gosh, I'm responsible. Yeah. So, how do you want to portray yourself as a nurse? And remember that, goes beyond just, how you, it goes beyond, like, it's how you act, it's how you look. I'm not, in my clinical courses, I'm not a real total stickler for, a certain kind of shoe or a certain kind of that. Because again, professionalism isn't about that. But, do you look, presentable? Is your, stuff clean? Do you look, put together? It goes into infection control. I'm sorry, like going into clinical, your nails are going to have to be shorter. Germs live under there. It's kind of gross, hair is going to get pulled back. The amount of hair and ponytails and long hair that I've seen in people's nether regions is, stuff like that. Professionalism and how you present yourself is going to matter. Such as with our therapeutic communication module that we just had. What you say and do matters. I cannot stress it enough. Your patients are not going to ask. I've not had a patient yet ask me or one of my students, hey, what grade did you get on that pathophysiology test? They didn't. But patients will remember how you made them feel by your actions and your words. So it very much matters. So there's a lot in this course. And again, I know it's a very different course than your other courses. Please, 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 please fill out that Survey Monkey that I sent out to you guys. And please fill out the Moses instructor evaluation from Marquette. I know that SurveyMonkey one, I've gotten some good ideas about, what students might want to see in this course in the future. So help me keep making this course better, and again, I know it's a very different course than your other courses in first semester. And, students typically don't realize how much you learn in this course, or that we talk about in this course, that actually applies to your actual practice until you get into practice. So um, to end, I will just kind of read this little quote from Adam Grant, who is a author. I do often put some of his quotes on my little Instagram that I do. My little Instagram is based off my own clinical experiences, and that's at Professor T_RN on Instagram. But this one that I recently posted by Adam Grant was, acts of kindness shouldn't be described as random. They aren't arbitrary or unintentional. They stem from deeply held values or strongly felt emotions. Helping is an expression of care. It's a decision that someone's well-being matters to you and an effort to matter to them. So sit with that for a minute, and as you go into the clinical environment, I beg of you to take some of these things that we have talked about in 6003 with you, to be the best nurse and the best advocate that you can be for those patients. Those patients in the hospital environment, they're stressed, and we really need compassionate, caring people out there. If I was in the hospital, or if my loved one was in the hospital, I would want to feel like my nurse truly cared about the outcome for me. So with that being said, it's been fabulous having you in class. Maybe I will see you sometime in the clinical environment. This summer I will be at St. Luke's Medical Center in Milwaukee on Monday, Tuesdays, and Wednesdays. This summer I do teach in the clinical environment. So if you do see me in there, pop in, say hi. I love it when students continue to reach out after even after the semester ends. I've had students reach out with, hey, this experience happened and I totally remembered, um, you know, something that we did talk about in this class, which is really great. So yeah, I am always around. Email me, as much as you want. That is totally great. But best of luck to you in your clinicals next semester. You got this. It's going to fly by. All right. Great to meet you. And yeah, good luck. Be the difference, guys. Truly. I know it sounds like a cliche, but it matters. We matter as nurses. What we do matters. So nursing is awesome. Love it. Keep up the good work, guys.